What's going on, everybody, and thank you for returning to another episode of Nerd Made by Faith. Man, it has been I think last episode was on Wednesday or Thursday, so I wasn't able to upload on Friday. But you know, a lot of things are happening, a lot of things are changing, a lot of positivity, and I'm just so excited to kind of jump into the word today with you guys and just really just jump into what it is to combine our faith with our fandoms, and that's really what it's all about, right? Is what is it that we love in this world that God uses to bring positivity and understanding to His Word. First off, I want to say that we do have a new sponsor for the channel, and I'm very, very excited to say this. And but we have been sponsored by Dubby. In their energy drinks and their sports drinks, it's really incredible. You know, the story behind that is I last night I just could not sleep, man. I could not sleep, and all of a sudden I'm just scrolling, and they pop up, and so yeah, I submit this form, I tell them what I do, and then next thing I know, you know, there's a sponsorship, and I'm very blessed that there's an opportunity for that. If you want to support, by all means, there is an affiliate link in the description below of the video. You get, I believe, 10% off whenever you order from them, and yeah, it's something great. It's something moving. We're always looking for new sponsorships over here just to keep the channel going. And if you want to, you can always go check out the Patreon as well. We don't have a whole lot of followers over there, and that's okay. We're building this brand as we go. And for those people who are questioning, you know, where are the reaction videos? Where's Stupendium? Where's all this? I'm really in a season of trying to re-identify where I'm headed. I'm in a season of what is it that I want to do moving forward, and what is it that I'm being felt called to do. And this is something I enjoy doing. I love talking about superheroes and movies, and I just love I love talking about, you know, my faith and just sharing that with people. And I think this is kind of the smartest route to go. I'm still going to react. There's actually a handful of reaction videos I plan on getting done today, but I really like talking to you guys about this, even the few people who watch it. You know, I still want to sit and talk and just have a good conversation. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. Today we are moving into, we're still in the Batman realm. I was going to do a video on a topic on the Power Rangers, which I'm still going to, but this really called to me today. Let me get it pulled back up. I'm over on YouVersion, the Bible app. I'm in the middle of reading this devotional called Fight, and it hits hard. It hits very hard on Samson and the self flaws, and how much he messed with himself, how much he affected himself. Real quick, I'm sure you can tell the sub's a little bit different. We're actually getting a new graphics card, a newer graphics card installed into the PC. So I kind of had to move things around so we can access the tower a little bit easier. So if you notice, like, the angle's different. I also raised up the monitors because I like looking up rather than looking down. I kept getting headaches when I worked constantly in here. But sorry, I digress. But so this devotional is talking about Samson and just how he is arrogant, and it just felt that he was the end all be all, the strongest man. He was the strongest man, but he just had these flaws that he just refused to see. And I think we're in day number 8. And this doesn't really go too much into Samson. This is just kind of more of us, but I'll go ahead and read it for you. Despair repair. Have you ever played so hard that you physically had nothing left in the tank? Sometimes you collapse on the bench, on the bench press of your life. Weakened, worn out, completely exhausted. But even if you're already maxed out, there's no guarantee more stress isn't coming. Do you ever feel like that? like the constant weight of responsibility is always there, that you always have to be there for your family and your friends. Believe me, I know how that feels. You don't want to let anybody down. Month after month, there are always going to be more bills that need to get paid. You want to be a good provider. You want to make your parents proud. You want to be strong for everybody. Do you ever feel like you're the glue holding everyone else together? Then is it really any wonder why you're exhausted? Of course, if you're like most guys, you'll never ask for help. You'll just keep adding more and more weight to that bar again and again. You keep lifting it, but you're sore. It hurts. But you don't tell anybody. Sometimes even wonder why you're carrying all the weight for all these other people. It's easy to start slipping into negative mindset. Do you ever feel alone, depressed, or defeated? We'll see all of these things in the depression of Samson's voice today. He took pride in being self-sufficient and never needing anyone else's help. He didn't want to reveal his weakness to others, which made it hard for him to admit to himself that he actually really needed God. Many of us slip into the same mode when we start feeling overwhelmed. We may not say it out loud, but what our actions are communicating to each other is, I'm not letting you in. I won't share what's going on with me. Besides, even if I try, you wouldn't understand. That's why we refuse to ask for directions. We don't want to have to tell someone we need help. I'm convinced that the reason we do this is that most of us want to be the hero, the main character, the center of the story, and we're telling about ourselves. We want to make everything about us instead of God. But here's the truth. You can grab hold of today, if you let your need drive you to God. God will meet your deepest needs. His Spirit will always lead us to confession, to changing direction, to realigning with His Word, to a fresh start to grace. Admit it. You need Him. Tell Him so. You may be surprised how He responds. Now, so I've had a tough time with this devotional. This guy is very much a, how do I put it? He's a nerd. He's not a nerd. He's a jock. The other one, I'm the nerd. He's a jock. He very much talks about, you saw weightlifting. He's done football analogies so far. Not my cup of tea, but what he keeps hammering at is being a prideless person. And that's exactly the opposite of what Samson is, who is a very prideful human being. And what it takes me to, when I read that beginning line, and that's what I really want to focus on. Have you ever played so hard that you physically had nothing left in the tank? For some reason, what is hitting me with that is, I think of The Dark Knight Rises, and I think about when Batman goes up to fight Bane, and he gets his back broken, and then he ends up in the prison, the well prison, and he has to heal his back, get back to normal, and try to climb. And then he ends up hurting himself again. He's exhausted. And even at the beginning of that movie, man, it's been 8 years. He's let his health decline. He's not in the best of shape. He's carrying this burden of Harvey Dent. This wishful thinking that Rachel loved him. And, you become that for everybody. I mean, he's the only hero in that universe. They decided not to go any further. They decided to keep it realistic, and they tried to put Batman in a box. I love that franchise, the Dark Knight, trilogy. But The Dark Knight Rises really paints it into a box that I think limited itself. That being said, I want to kind of jump over this other one that I have. This is just Everyday Bible Promises, and this was on the first day. Because I wanted to, what is something that can relate? And this kind of correlates, this kind of goes back to our last lesson from last week about building your own bat family. Surrounding yourself with those people who are going to better you. And eventually God will bring those people into your life. It's just you have to accept them. So this is from Genesis 1:2, and this is kind of where it draws from. Matthew 1 and then Psalms 1. The verse in it is, "And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him and help meet for him." Genesis 2:18. The promise to one man, Adam, is also a promise to people in general, that the marriage they will find in that in marriage they will find a helper that is right for them, but for everyone, even those men and women who never marry, God will provide a helper in His Holy Spirit, who gives Christians the power that they need to live well. It's the same. It's the same difference. This is talking about somebody who's alone and will have companionship in whatever way, and that's what we were talking about last time. The Samson story, the fight devotional, really goes into the fact that, you know, we cannot be alone. We should not be alone. That we cannot take on the burdens of the world for ourselves to be the hero of our own story. You know, I wrote a song for a show last year called Don't Lose Sight. If you haven't seen it, it's on the channel. And there's a song at the end of Act 1 called My Name. You know, and it's like, I'm finally the hero of my own story. And it's like, you know, that really, it hit when I read that, you know, it was like, it hit. Let's jump back down to Bruce, in the prison though. You know, Bruce had this mentality of thinking, and this goes back to our very first lesson, thinking outside the box. He thought in the box. Everybody tied themselves to that rope to get back up, right? He had faith. He had faith that he was going to make that jump. And he did, without the rope. You know, going back to blind faith. Going back to, you know, being fearless. Being reckless for God. And that kind of what that goes into is giving yourself to that faith, giving yourself to that so you can achieve these great things. I know what you're going to say. You're going to be like, Tyler, he wasn't thinking of God. He was just like, I got to get out there to get back to Gotham. But that's the thing, though. That's the thing. That's what we can connect. That's why we're here. We're connecting these things. Bruce had faith that he was going to make it. He didn't need that crutch of support of that rope. And that rope is there to pull you back. That rope is there to make you afraid. Like, oh, grab onto this bar because that bar is going to make sure you don't fall. That bar is going to make sure you fall, because if you keep holding on that bar, you're not going to jump over to the next ledge. You're never going to take that leap of faith. And that's the thing for me was Bruce also never boasted after the fact that he did that. That wasn't the thing. He just escaped and he left. And I think that's the thing. And then he went back to Gotham and he finished his purpose. He ended up saving Gotham from this bomb threat. And, you know, ended up becoming this idol to people. And you could correlate that to Christ and how, you know, he sacrificed himself. The thing was, Bruce ends up living. I hate that. There's a theory that ending is like a dream sequence. I've always hated that. I know for a fact that that's Bruce Wayne and that's Selena Kyle at the end. But it wouldn't have happened. That ending would never have happened if Bruce would have held onto that rope. If Bruce never would have had faith. If Bruce never would have decided, I can do this. You know, it reminds me of my wife. You know, my wife is a very talented person. She is trying to be a voice actress. She loves teaching, and, you know, she was at this point recently where she's like, I'm not going to have any purpose. There's no purpose for me or whatever. And I remember God telling me to come into this office, go to Indeed, and just fill out applications for preschools. Because my wife didn't want to go back to college. She's like, I don't want to go back to my teaching degree. I don't have time for that. I don't have the patience or the want for that, but I want to do something greater. So like, well, you know, I don't think you need a teaching degree to be a preschool teacher. I don't think you might need like a certification for early childhood, but you don't need a degree. And so I came in here, I did that, and then next thing we know, you know, she's getting, you know, calls left and right for jobs, but it doesn't hit anything. And then as soon as we start pouring ourselves back into our faith, as soon as we start refilling that cup up, she gets a call to another preschool. Goes to that interview. And then gets an email from that director saying, hey, this other location is interested in you. Same company, just a different location. Makes an interview. They say, oh, you'll hear something back by Friday. Friday comes, don't hear anything. Wife's starting to get the doubt. And I'm like, no, God's got this. God's got this. Like they could tell you Friday, but they might wait till Monday. Let the new week start. Sure enough, come Monday, she gets an email saying, hey, can you come in? We'd like to offer you the job. And then, so we go in. They tell her she's got to get some fingerprints done, background check, whatever. So it's going to take some more time. So what happens next? We go get all that done. Guy finds a way. Because we had to pay $35 to go get her a physical because our doctor wasn't available to do it. Guy found a way for that. And bam. She started work today. That's where she's at right now. And my wife, a month ago, was saying she had no purpose. She had, there was nothing. God had nothing for her. But she took the leap of faith. Even though I'm the one who kind of pushed her off the edge to do it, she took the leap of faith. And here she is now doing this. She's still afraid. Don't get me wrong. Just because you have faith, you should have fearless faith. But at the same time, we are imperfect. So we're going to fear things. We are going to be afraid. Does God want us to? No, not necessarily. But we're going to have those fears. And I'm proud of her, man. She got up this morning. It took her a minute. She got up this morning. She went to work. And it felt good. It gave her a sense of, I am doing something. She did tell me, she's like, just watch your phone because I could be done pretty quick. Because it's just onboarding stuff today, of course. And then tomorrow she really starts. But, we have to have blind faith. We have to have that, we have to be able to jump to that new ledge and not hold on to the rope. We have to be able to do that and give that to him. Because if we don't give it to him, if we don't give our fears and our doubts to God and our desires and our wants, we're never going to make it to that new ledge. We're going to stay where we're at, or we're going to be pulled down by the rope that we're holding on to. We talk about let go. People are always afraid to let go for God. Because you hear these stories of like, oh, I was rich and then I became a Christian and God told me to give away all my money and now I live in this hut and I'm happy now. And people are like, I don't want that. I want to be comfortable. And so we get this fear and this mindset that God is going to send us to these locations and these places that we don't want to go. The thing is, God, and this is something that our pastor was saying yesterday, God puts these dreams and these thoughts into our head that, that we want to achieve. Again, I've said this before. I believe I said it in episode 1. I have this giant 4-panel poster of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I have this bigger, this normal size poster of the Power Rangers. I've got a Captain America shield. I've got a Red Ranger shrine right here. I've got more Power Ranger stuff there. I don't know if you can see it or not. I've got a Red Ranger here, a Red Ranger there. I've got Flash up here. I don't think you can see that. I got Batman over here. I've got Nightwing. I got to put them up. But, I've got these postcards from Walter and Austin. I've got some things over here. God put those interests in me when I was a child. And these things have followed me ever since, to the point where I have based my career off part of these things. We started an audio drama of Power Rangers. I did a short film of Power Rangers. We did a live radio show of Nightwing. We did a parody show of Fairy Tail, the anime. God puts these in us. God puts these in our hearts, and these are not the problems. God is going to use our love for these things, and God's going to use our talent for these things to better glory him and to help other people in this world to reach him. And that's just kind of where I'm like, faith is what we need. And, Samson didn't have faith, man. He was born, when he was born, he had a pledge put on his life. That's why he was so strong, man. There were rules that he had to follow, and he broke all of those rules. He broke every single one of those rules to the point where, you know, he lost his hair and he lost his power, and that's it. You know, went down history. You know, and we don't want to be that way. You know, we don't want to be that way. We don't want to be that person who went down in history. The way I look at that is, you know, just a reckless somebody. I think of Jason Todd when I think of Samson. I think of Jason Todd, and we'll cover that later on, but like just his story. I love the character Jason Todd. You know, he's got a redemption, but it's like he fell. Another one would be Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker would be a great example of Samson. You know, like he did things he wasn't supposed to do. You know, he was so arrogant and he was so petty and jealous of, you know, things that he wanted. He was the chosen one. Like, how come I can't have this? Rather than being like, I will be faithful to the Jedi way, I'll be faithful to what we believe. No, I want the girl. I want her. You know, I want to be a master. You know, I want to have power. I want to be able to save people. You know, and that's all great and everything, but he made himself the hero. When naturally we end up becoming the hero of our own stories because of God. God comes into us and gives that to us. We can't just beg for it and ask for it. That time will come where we step up and we make a difference. Whatever it is, we will make a difference. So it's just, you know, on that topic of making a difference, man, we're about to start this new show, Behind the Line. We start rehearsals tonight. And the thing is, right now, besides doing YouTube, this is my job right now. I don't really have anything else. I do have a freelance gig, but I have to wait for them to send me work. I can't just go out and, you know, and just start working. They got to send me things that work for what I do. And, you know, this and then volunteering at FanWord, like, this is what I do. And I'm excited, and I'm ready for God to move mountains with this show. I'm ready for God to reach people in the places that I never thought we could reach them. Like, this show is different than any show I've ever written to this point. Like I said, we've done a fairy tale show. We did a show called Who We Really Are, which we've done 2 versions of that show, which is a fictional version of how my wife and I met and just things that we went through. Then we did Nightwing, and then we did Don't Lose Sight last year. And Don't Lose Sight was straight personal. It wasn't just like, oh, here's a fictional story. This was a real life. These were practically the events that took place, and it went into the depths of our anxiety and how our anxiety treats us. You know, I had my friend Wyatt played my anxiety. My friend Jeremy played Serena's anxiety. And it was just like, you got to see these personifications of how the anxiety talks to us and how we treat ourselves in those moments. And I think that hit, that hit certain people. I've had people tell me they love the music and they love the story. People told me they cried after, during the show. This show, Behind the Line, is new. It's brand new. This show was so hard for me to write. The concept came to me very quick. We went down to Georgia. We had talked about moving. And when we came back home, I'm like, I want to write this show. I'm ready for the next show. And all I see is 3 people at a train station. That's all I had. I had that, and then I had this concept for a song, and that's all I had. And I'm like, I gotta write this. And I sat and I sat and I sat. How's it going? I can't get it. So I sat and I sat and I sat. How's it going? I can't get it. And then one day I said, I'm gonna sit down. Well, first off, then this fourth and fifth character came in, add more to it. But then I sat down one day, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe I prayed beforehand. And I was like, all right, God help me write this. And all I know is I wrote the show in a day. Music and all. I powered through it. And what came out was something powerful. And that's just not just me boasting and being like, oh, this is going to be a great show. Serena, who edits anything I write, came in here and she started crying. My buddy Jeremy, who's also in this show, he told his wife about it. Just the ending. She didn't read the script. He just told her about it, and it moved her. I want this show to hit people, not because I want the fame. I would love for this to be my full-time job, where I get to just talk to you guys all day. I get to write shows and music and go perform them like 2 or 3 times a year, go do concerts, like once a month, and just have that be my income. That is what I want. I want to be able to do that. Talk to you guys on here, go perform, just go find people, reach people, bring people, out of the darkness. That's what I want to do. But if this is where I have to start, this is where I have to start. But what I would love, and I pray that it's God's will, that this show changes lives for people. That this show brings that moment of, I'm no longer alone. I understand. And that's what this show is about. Is I'm no longer alone. And so, with that being said, I hope it isn't something I got off track, because I feel like I stayed on track and just went a different route than probably what you were thinking. Going back to the whole Batman thing, real quick. Speaking of not being alone, when he got out, he had Catwoman. She kind of, even though she was going to bounce, she came back and she helped him. It was Batman and the police versus all of these criminals. And it was like he wasn't alone. He even had Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, John Blake. He was there, kind of like the surrogate Robin. The pseudo Robin, that's what I'm looking for. He learned he was not alone, because at the end of The Dark Knight, he basically took the fall for Harvey Dent's death and became this villain. Well, at the end of it, he's surrounded by all of these people trying to save Gotham. And so it's just like we go back to that theme of unity and not being alone. But let's go ahead and pray. If any of this reached you, I hope it did. But let's go ahead and bow our heads. Dear Lord, let me take my hat off. Dear Lord, I want to thank you today. I want to thank you for allowing us to come together for this podcast, to just talk and just to just talk about our faith in you and just our love for these fandoms and these stories. God, I want to thank you for the inspiration that you give people and the ideas that you give people for these characters and all of that. I apologize for my eyes. Like the light is bothering me, so if I open my eyes, I'm not meaning to. But Lord, I just want, if there's anybody out there listening today that really need to hear this message of just blind faith and just taking the step forward of jumping to the next ledge, and letting go of the rope or letting go of the crutch, I hope it reaches them, and I hope that you're able to go into their heart today, Lord. It's very hard in this world anymore to feel like you can talk to anybody or trust anybody, when it does feel like we're out to get each other all the time. But Lord, I just want people to know that you are there for them. That you will provide, that you will put the right people in their lives, no matter where they go, no matter what they do. You will give them a purpose. You will give them a reason to be alive, rather than just going through a mundane life day by day and just feeling emptiness and cold. Lord, I just pray that whoever's listening, whoever needs this today, it reach them. In your name I pray, amen. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you're over on Spotify, this is not what I normally do. My voice is going crazy. It's not what I normally do, man. Last year about this time, about in August, I was doing reactions to Stupendium, and that's where the channel blew up a little bit. And now I'm doing this, and the views are very low. But the thing is, I feel like this is stronger content than me reacting to everything. Again, reactions are coming, so don't worry about that. We'll have plenty of those coming. But I just want to let you guys know that I appreciate you, and that I think and believe we'll be doing amazing things throughout the rest of this year and moving forward. But just, keep your faith strong, and we'll see you guys later.